Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be back with you guys to do a video for another card, which is an interesting card fold. I was missing in action for a few days. Shall I say why I was experiencing technical difficulties. I've set up a new filming station with a new tripod and everything, and that always entails quite a bit of work getting everything fine-tuned, and hopefully it's going to work. I have smaller space, but it's enabled me to open up my office so I can actually walk around and get to my desk and everything that I need to. So to start off with today, this is the card that we're making, and it has a very unique triangle fold here on the corner. And this one has tons of layers, which I think I kind of went overboard. We don't have to have that many layers. I can do packets for this card. However, we will be making a very similar card in our next class, and I'll have more details about that at the end of the video. So to get started, we're going to be making this card. As I said, I just did this as kind of a generic, it's your day type card. You could use it for anything, birthday, celebration, retirement, just about anything, but it is on the masculine side because I am always short of masculine cards. So for the stamp sets, we are going to be using the Tasteful Texture stamp set. This is actually carrying forward into the new 21-22 annual catalog, which will be released on May 4th. And then we're also using the Happiest of Birthdays stamp set, and this is also carrying over to the new catalog. I use this Happiest Birthday stamp set all the time for my birthday cards. Now it seems to be able to work for everything I need it to do. So those are the stamp sets. Our ink pads we're going to be using are Smoky Slate and Basic Gray. With framelits for some of our layers is this rectangle stitched framelits. I think I used the fourth one down for that. Also a couple of embossing folders. These are also carrying forward to our new catalog. The Brick and Mortar and the Tasteful Textiles. We'll also be using some embellishments, which are the black matte dots, which are also carrying forward, and I'm very glad about that because this is a nice masculine embellishment that you can put on the card. It's not too shiny or too much bling. Okay. So let me put all of this away. Let me lay our card right up here so we can see what I'm making. Like I say, this new setup is going to take me a little bit of adjusting to be able to get everything so you guys can see everything. So you'll have a packet, and of course you'll have your envelope. You'll have a 4x4 square of Designer Series paper. This is the paper that matches the In Taste bundle, and it is also carrying forward, which is very unusual. Stampin' Up! Doesn't usually carry any papers forward, but this is it gets extra sheets. It's a large pack of paper, lots of grays, blues, browns, great for masculine cards, but also there's some pinks and stuff in there. So you have a 4x4 square. You have your card base, which is our normal 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We have a basic gray layer for the front, which is 4 by 5 1/4. We have a basic white 4 by 5 1/4, which is going to be for the inside of the card. We have another basic gray that is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and as I say, there's tons of layers on this card. Smoky Slate, which I have embossed with the brick embossing folder. This one is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Basic white, we have a 3 3/4 by 5, which is for the front of the card. We have a 3 by 4 that I have also embossed with the textured folder. And then we have a 3 by 4 that we're going to do our stamping on. All of these measurements and materials will be on my blog post that will accompany this video. You also have a small piece of Designer Series paper. This I think is like 3/4 by we'll cut it down to the 4 for the inside of our card. So to get started, we're going to get all of our stamping out of the way first. And since this is a red rubber stamp and it has the padding behind it, I don't need to have my little mat. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stamp this small one here. Small was basic white piece, and I should have brought in a piece of scratch paper. Let's see if I have anybody. Nope, I'll roll over here and get some off my desk. So we're going to stamp off. Okay, sorry about that. But I can actually walk over to my desk now with my new setup. So stamp off, or we sometimes call it second generation stamping. What happens is you ink your stamp. You stamp off on a scratch piece of paper. And then we're going to stamp it on here. And I raised it up from the bottom just a little bit. And we're going to stamp on there. Hold it down for a couple of seconds. Okay. I just want a lighter image so that our greeting will show through on that. And then we're going to stamp off again. And then we'll turn this one a little bit and do one more. Okay, we got that. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stamp, let me see, what did I stamp on the inside? One or two? I think I only did one. Oh, nope, I did two. So here what I did on this one, I stamped full strength, and I came up from the bottom a little bit. And then I just lifted and turned it and stamped again. And so that gives you a kind of a two-tone image there. Okay, and then what else? We're going to stamp the front of our envelope. And the envelope, I didn't show that to you. We'll be covering the back of it with designer series paper, and then on the front I just did the same feather treatment that I did on the inside of the card. So we'll be doing that, turning it, and stamping it again. Okay, that takes care of that. Again, as I say, I have a little less room, so I have to kind of figure out where I'm going to place things. Okay, then we'll do our greetings, and so I have that set up on the Stamparatus, and so we'll take the little piece that I did, and we're going to stamp "You are the best" on the top of this, just like I have on my card right here. Okay, so we'll put that in, make sure everything's in the corner. And for this, we're going to use the darker gray. It's called basic gray. That's what we're going to use to ink with. So we will ink this up. And I do like to stamp a set of stamps set under here just to make it easier for me to ink. Okay, hope you all can see. Okay, and then we will put this down. Now I have a new toy. So I've been having trouble with my finger, and I had surgery for the ring finger, but now I still don't have as much strength. So I got this little tool, and it's actually called a little Debbie, or a Debbie tool, and I got it on Etsy. And I'm a real sucker for tools, whether it's in my kitchen or my sewing room or wherever. And so all you do is you just put a light pressure and you rub this, and it really does help you get a really nice image. And you still can get the same thing pushing down with your hand, but I don't have the strength right now to do that. So you get a really nice, bright, clear image on that. And then on the inside, I also have this Stamparatus set up on the inside for the inside greeting. Here's our inside piece. We'll push that up. We will ink this up. Okay, and we will press this down. I'll use my Debbie. Really all this is a doorknob put on wood, and then they put some kind of padding over it. But I was helping out a friend, and she recommended me to this website, or this Etsy shop. And there is your really nice inside greeting. So I think we are done with the stamping. Stick all of this over here. Okay, so now it's a matter of putting our layers together. And as you can see, as I said on the sample, there's quite a few layers. Oh, no, we'll back up just a little bit. So what we're going to do next is you have your square of designer series paper. And we're actually going to cut this in half as on the angle. So again, like we did on the previous triangle type card, we're going to take this is our cutting, what do I want to say? Right, this little gully right here on my trimmer. And you all have, if you have any kind of trimmer, it has this. This is your cutting channel right there. And so what you do is you take your your square and you put one corner in the cutting channel at the bottom, and then you turn it up, and you want both of these corners in the middle of your cutting triangle, and you want to try to get it as accurate as you can. And I'm sorry if my head gets in the camera. And then we're going to cut. Now I start in the middle because I don't want it to grab an edge, the corner edge, and I cut down. And that's what this is. That's all the cutting you're going to do. You're going to end up with these, okay? And then what you do is you take whatever side you want to be outside, and I'm using the brick pattern. You're going to fold this in half, and so you want to line up your corners and make sure that your bottom edge is straight. And then I just hold on to it, take my bone folder, and just go like so that I get a nice, now it might be off a little bit on the bottom, but the back side's not going to show. So all you really want is a nice, I did not cut that very straight, I guess. So there's that. Okay, so we'll do the same thing here. You're going to take this, you're going to match your corners, match your bottom edge. I may have to trim this down if this one's off like the other one was. Just make sure it's straight, and then bring your bone folder and go like so. So then you take, let's see, this is going to go, so I think we'll be fine. So what's on the back doesn't show, but that sure is not a very pretty angle there. I must have not cut it very straight, so I'm going to just trim this off. Okay. All right, so now we'll start, we've done that, so we're going to start building some of our layers, and we're going to build from the top, from the saying that goes on to the gray brick patterned piece. And I just, since the bottom part's not going to show, we're going to glue it down and then just have the border on the edges. And hopefully let me see, where is my Stampin' Seal? There's my Stampin' Seal. We're going to give that a try. I hope you all had a nice Easter. I ended up with 22 people at my house, but we had a great time. And the kids have these games now that you play on your TV. So that's what the older kids did. They set up, one's kind of like Pictionary. I didn't really get too involved in it because I was busy doing other things. But they had a good time playing. And you use your phones. You play on your phones. And I'm like, oh my gosh, something else that we have to have a phone for. And then this one is going to go on the white layer that's embossed with the textured pattern. I've been struggling again with my Stampin' Seal. I think occasionally when I don't use it all the time, then it doesn't want to flow. Once I start using it, I can get it going pretty well. But okay. And then this one I'm going to kind of try to line up somewhat straight. The bottom part doesn't show because it's behind the triangles pieces, but I do like to keep it going. Okay, and now we're going to do this onto the gray, and it has a very large border. And as I say, we're going to do this in class, but we're not going to, it'll be much simpler, not so many layers. I have, as you all know, and I've told you many times, I belong to the swap, and so there's certain requirements that we have to meet, one of which is there has to be a certain number of layers on our card, and so that's why this one ended up having so many layers so I could meet the requirements. And then we have this 3 3/4 by 5, and this is going to go on there. So it sounds like the restrictions for COVID are going to start relaxing, which I think is kind of strange, just because Major League Baseball wants to have a great big event here in our state and use our stadium. All of a sudden, Colorado is close enough to being able to pretty much open back up. So we'll see how that all goes. I just think here's my opinion, and I don't usually get political on here, but money talks, and that's exactly what I think is happening here. So now the next thing we're going to do, we have these layers all built. So we're going to put on our designer series paper, and for that I am going to use hopefully my liquid glue is not clogged. And so what you do is you just really put you hold it up here and figure out what's going to be your top piece. This is my top piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to go along the edge, make sure I get in the corner pretty well on this side. I don't worry about the back until I get everything glued down the way I want it. And then I hold this in here, put this on there, line up the bottom. It's very important that you get the bottom lined up. And I just kind of made sure that it was the way I wanted it. Rub this down. For the back, I just put a little bit of glue on this back side and glued it down like so. So while I'm doing all this gluing, I want to give credit for the layout, partial layout on this card. I got the triangle idea. She called it a faux pocket, which I'm fine with that, although you can't pull this part out of the pocket. But her name is Shauna. Her last name begins with an M, and I know I would fracture it if I tried. She actually is a demonstrator in Moosejaw, Canada, and I met her when we used to be able to go to Stampin' Up! Convention, and we have a whole group of us that kind of got acquainted at one of our conventions, and we've just we follow each other on Facebook and stuff, and she does a weekly, I think she calls hers a mystery card. I'm not real sure. I haven't gotten into the mystery card thing too much, but this is what the layout that she featured, and I just kind of liked it, and I thought, well, it's different and it's not too difficult, and she only did like 2 layers, so it went together super quick. I always have to make it hard. So okay, so then once you get that down, here's your pocket. This is going to go on the gray piece. That's going to be the top layer of your card. Again, since I have my glue out, I'll just use this and get it on there. Okay. And try to get this on somewhat straight and with even borders, although I'm not the best. Especially right now, my allergies. I don't know about any of you if you have allergies. Mine are so bad. And my eyes water so much you can't hardly see. Sometimes it's like you're driving with your windshield covered in rain. So it gets a little bit hard sometimes to see. Okay, there's that. And now we're going to put that on our card base, I guess I should say. This actually is a gray granite. It's a little bit of a different color, so I just stuck with all the grays just because of I wanted this to be the masculine feel. And you could use this for lots of different occasions. And if you all have stamps, you could easily replicate this. So. Okay. Feels like I've got a little bit of glue. Must have been on my finger. Right there. I'm going to take that off with my handy dandy adhesive eraser. Okay. Then the only other thing, we have to finish up our inside of our card. So I have a little tiny piece of designer series paper, and I'm just going to put this along the bottom of my, actually I think I'll put the glue along here since I didn't bring my silicone mat in here. And we will lay this down lining it up right at the bottom. Oops, it slipped. Now I am going to have glue on my mat. Oh well. It's only paper, as they say. Okay, I'm going to put that there, let it dry a little bit. Oh, and it doesn't look like I brought it in. I did not bring in the designer series paper for the back of the envelope, but you know how we do that. We lay it on there and then we just trim around here. We've done that numerous times, but apparently I left it in the stamping studio and didn't bring it in here for my video, so we won't worry about that. Okay, so there's that. Now I'll take my scissors. I'll trim this strip off. See if I can see to do it. There we go. Okay, and then this will just go on the inside of our card. Let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. So on the line of the next class, I'm going to be doing a class here at my house like we have been doing, and it'll be on Friday, April 23rd. I will be sending out the Sign Up Genius invites as we get a little bit closer to the event. It's going to be our normal times. I'm going to do 10 to 12, and I think I did 2 to 4, something like that. But all the details will be in the invite. Now, if anybody who would like to come but can't do it in the afternoon and you would like an evening time, please just let me know. I'll be more than glad to do an extra session. I'm all set up. I can easily do an extra session and have it because I know some of you do work. And I do know it's a bit of a drive out here for you guys that are in Brighton. But you know what? It's a nice drive, not a lot of traffic. Finally getting all the road construction on I-76 done. So drive out and see me. I'd love to have you come. All right, now the only other thing we have left to do is to do our little embellishments, and I always try to do 3, and I did kind of just whatever I had, different sizes. I didn't really care, and just to get kind of a little bit of embellishment on it. So there we go. There's the card we just made, and here is the card and the envelope that I made as samples. So thank you so much for watching me. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.